What is up, guys? Rick Kackis here. Thank you so much for stopping by, and today, with the weekly reset, the Proving Grounds Strike became a Grandmaster Nightfall for the first time ever, and we have double Nightfall rewards this week, and we have the Palindrome Hand Cannon, which is arguably the most desirable of the three Nightfall weapons, being the featured drop. But a lot of people are saying that this is one of the most difficult Grandmasters out there, but let me tell you, they must not be subscribed to the Cack Man, because I'm going to tell you guys a bunch of tips, strategies, and cheeses to make this Nightfall as easy as possible so you can get in there, get farming, and get those palindrome drops amongst other fantastic rewards. And so, let's get started. And first things first, let's talk about your loadouts. Now, the champions are going to be Unstoppable and Barrier, and I would recommend pretty much the same thing I recommended last week, which is a pulse rifle with unstoppable rounds, and then a sniper rifle with that sniper rifle anti-barrier rounds. Especially that one, letting you use a special to deal with champions is invaluable. And if you get a powerful sniper rifle, like the Secession from the raid, for example, it can absolutely tear up enemies. However, you are going to need to this time note your elemental requirements. Now, when you're fighting the Cabal, there's not really arc shields normally. However, with the Proving Grounds Strike specifically, there's kind of randomly spawning bosses in the different rooms, and those guys have random elemental shields. So make sure you have all three elements covered. Like, even if just one person has, an arc heavy weapon, Anarchy is a good example of that, but just something to deal with a random Cabal arc shield that could pop up, that is going to be necessary. In addition, there are going to be some longer range engagements that occur, especially in the big open room with the two tanks, so putting on the Sundering Glare mod is a fantastic idea, especially when combined with a pulse rifle. It can activate very easily and deal a lot of extra damage from afar. Now, in terms of, team composition, we are using one Invisible Hunter with the Aeon Gauntlets, and specifically with the mod that gets you heavy or special ammo. That is absolutely essential, I feel like, for most Grandmasters, being able to go invisible, go up to the champions just as they're about to become finishable, and then your teammates shoot them down, and then get that finisher off, get heavy for everyone. So good. We were also using two defensive supers, one Titan with a bubble and Helm of Saint 14, because there are going to be a lot of melee enemies that charge into the bubble, so having them instantly disorient is very useful, not to mention the shield you get from going in and out. And then I was a Phoenix Well. But you'll notice something very interesting on my loadout, and this is kind of the first major cheese and something I would highly recommend using, and that is actually the Skyburner's Oath Scout Rifle. So, this thing does extra damage against Cabal, it goes through Phalanx shields. It's actually a really good weapon in its own right within this activity, but the reason you really want to use it, and the cheese factor about it, is that, as you can see from the background gameplay, you are actually able to shoot through the big Cabal shield domes. And of course, the boss fight completely revolves around this mechanic. So you're actually able to, with the Skyburner's Oath, completely bypass the need to go inside of those domes, put yourself at massive risk, potentially be stomped, whatever. You can way back in complete safety pick away at the inner part of these domes, and they just crumble. Now, importantly, you're not going to see any damage numbers, but again, as you saw from the background gameplay, it will just slowly damage itself over time and eventually be destroyed. Importantly, for this to work, you actually can't be using Scout Rifle anti-barrier rounds. That's going to make you hit immunes on the shield, as you can see, like, it just doesn't work. So make sure you don't have that mod on for this to actually function. But moving on from there, let's talk about some tips and strategies for the actual Nightfall. We have a great boss cheese spot, but you're actually going to have to get to the boss if you want to use it. The first room a lot of people are having trouble with is this huge open room. There are so many enemies here. Now you want to set up behind one of the kind of large panels. If you set up where you first drop down, there's two small panels. These do not provide enough cover. However, a word of caution, behind these big panels, if you're getting too close, like if you're touching them, an explosion can actually come through kind of the bottom of these panels. So you want to be a little bit back, but really what I would recommend is go for those tanks, go for the champions, you know, before anything else. If you can just double tick one of the champions and use your snipers, you can kill it really, really fast. And then deleting those barrier champions and not having them spam missiles at you is going to really, really make things easier. And then you can just kind of methodically take out all of the ads. The same thing works for the tank. If you can just, you know, stick the tank with Anarchy, switch to your sniper, get the, you know, front few legs, get Sunder and Glare active, you are going to melt those tanks really, really fast. And the quicker you kill them, that is going to be a huge factor in your success. But there are going to be some ads that charge you, especially the dogs, so definitely be aware of those. Honestly, there isn't really so much of a tip or trick you can do here other than just you're going to have to take things a little bit slow, but really try to focus fire down, you know, the main problematic ads that are really putting a lot of volume of fire on you, and it is just going to be a difficult part. This is going to be the most difficult part of this Nightfall. But moving on from there, we have the underbelly section where you're kind of going through grabbing orbs and depositing them. Now, a couple of tips for this. Definitely there's going to be a couple of snipers, and even when you go into these rooms, sometimes there's snipers like behind you that kind of are trying to shoot you in the back, so make sure you're really looking for those and taking those snipers down as quickly as possible. Additionally, as you go from one compartment, one room kind of to the next, there's going to be always like a door that opens up, and usually a bunch of melee guys such as gladiators are going to rush through. Simply jump to the opposite side of the room and you can really kind of take those guys down with no problems. However, one big tip I do have for you guys is when you're getting to the final part of this underbelly section and the last door is opening to that little elevator that's going to take you up to the boss room, make sure to use your supers. It doesn't matter if there's only one enemy remaining, use your super. And the reason being is because actually in the boss room, as you can see, when you initiate the challenge, just like in the Battlegrounds activity, your entire team instantly gets their supers back. So if you can spam all your supers at the kind of where you're going to hold out and then go and activate the challenge, you can go back and there's going to be free orbs stored there. And that is going to greatly benefit you for this encounter. But let's talk about that boss fight. Firstly, as I said, there is actually a cheese spot. So what you can do is jump to one of these banners here, and the metal part on the bottom you can actually stand on, and then from here you jump to the tall pillars with the balls on top. If you get on top of the ball, then you can jump up to this very top part. Now note, when you're up here, there's actually, you know, different colored platforms kind of. The platforms that are sticking up just a little bit, they're more gray colored. You can stand on and you'll know that you can actually shoot them and the bullets will ricochet and make an impact. But then the darker parts, you will actually fall through those if you walk on them. And again, if you shoot them, you'll see your bullets go right through, kind of warning you that this is not an area you can stand on. But from up here, as you can see, you kind of have free reign to stick the boss with Anarchy and slowly whittle it down. Now you will be shot at by the glowing fire orbs quite a bit. You are immune if you are at the very back of where you can stand up here, but if you're too far forward, you can get caught and you can still die here. But when you're up here, the only way this is going to work is if you have, again, one of those Skyburner's Oaths, so you're able to take down the shield from here, from safety, right? So definitely be aware of that. However, we found that it was kind of hard to take out a lot of the champions and so on from up here. It may be safer, it maybe takes a little bit longer, but we ended up not using this and just going to where you first walk into this room. And a huge tip here is that you can actually shoot those fire orbs, don't forget that. And they die really easily. Like one shot from any primary weapon absolutely melts those orbs. So make sure whenever you get that little glow on your screen, whenever the boss is shooting those orbs, just everyone take them down with their primaries, and that's going to limit a lot of the damage coming at you actually. And if you're in that beginning area where you see us hold out, the boss really does not push you until the absolute final damage phase where you can melt and kill her. The ads do, but really if you have someone just paying attention to the orbs she's shooting out and is dedicated to destroying them all, and the other two are just killing the ads and killing the champions, you're really not pushed by too many enemies. Especially if you have a bubble and a well or 2 Phoenix wells and you can just rotate those supers so you're always protected, it's really not too much trouble to simply hold out here. And then of course, as you're holding out here and the boss goes into the shield phase, just use that Sky Burns to take down that shield from down here and then go back to holding out there. That Sky Burns, that cheese is absolutely going to make this Nightfall so much easier. And then my one last tip, as the boss is on the last third of health, as I alluded to earlier, it finally does charge you, and so that is the time to absolutely melt it. Put in your anarchies, use your supers, you know, everything you can. If you can melt that boss right there, it's going to make things significantly easier. Oh, it's just going to end the Nightfall immediately and you're good to go. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed, found this informative, and if you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at @RickKackis. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.